Jessica's story felt like a puzzle with missing pieces. She had spent months dating a man who seemed to be everything she was looking for: charming, attentive, and incredibly intelligent. They shared a love for art, spent long nights talking about their dreams, and laughed until their sides hurt. Everything about the connection felt right, yet it never moved forward. Then, in the blink of an eye, he ghosted her, leaving behind only the ghost of a shared memory. Weeks later, she found herself in a casual situationship with a man who was emotionally unavailable, inconsistent, and seemingly uninterested in anything beyond the surface. Their conversations were brief, their time together sporadic, but no matter how many times she tried to end it, he always reappeared, an invisible tether refusing to break. She found herself asking, why did the connection that felt so right fade, while the one that felt so wrong stubbornly stay? This isn't a coincidence. This isn't random. An invisible pattern is at play, a hidden force more powerful than your best pickup line or your most charming smile. It's a current that runs beneath the surface of every single interaction, and once you understand it, everything about connection, attraction, and intimacy clicks into place. It's the ultimate secret to building a bond that is both loyal and passionate. At Love Threads, we uncover the hidden dynamics that shape desire, loyalty, and emotional connection. We don't just give you dating tips, we deconstruct the very fabric of human relationships. Tonight, we'll reveal the ultimate pattern that keeps him engaged and how to navigate it consciously for lasting, fulfilling relationships. This isn't about manipulation or mind games. It's about aligning with a deeper truth about how human beings are wired for love and connection. It's about understanding the very essence of why one person becomes a magnet while another remains a fleeting memory. This knowledge isn't about tricking him. It's about honoring yourself and the connections you genuinely want to build. Relatable scenario and emotional connection. Imagine Laura, a woman who, in her late 30s, feels like she's seen it all. She's been on the dating apps for years, a modern-day labyrinth of fleeting profiles and polished bios. Her phone is a revolving door of hopeful conversations that never quite turn into anything real. She's tried all the advice. She's been the one who was polite and easygoing. She's mastered the flirty back and forths, and she's even ventured into the realm of grand romantic gestures like a thoughtful, pre-planned outing, a surprise text just to say she's thinking of him. Yet so many of these connections still fade away like ghosts after a handful of dates, even when the conversations were great and the first kiss was electric. The easy connections, the men who seemed so interested and who mirrored her enthusiasm in the early days, they were often the first to disappear. Then there are the others, the ones that stick around, the one who sends a thoughtful text a week after you've gone quiet, not with a question, but with a simple observation about a book you mentioned. The one who still checks in on you months after you thought the connection had ended, as if an invisible thread still connects you both. The one who feels an inexplicable pull to stay in your life, even if the timing is wrong, the relationship has hit a standstill, or you have no logical reason to still be on their mind. Laura looks at these two very different patterns and feels a confusing mix of curiosity and powerlessness. It's not about how beautiful she is or how successful she is or even how much she tries. It's about a force she can't see, a dynamic that feels beyond her control. Some men are like quicksand, slipping away no matter how hard she grasps, no matter how much she gives. Others are like a sturdy oak tree, their roots seemingly anchored to her even when she tries to push them away, even when the relationship is complicated and messy. Why him and not them? Why did the connection that felt so right fizzle out, while the one that was full of conflict and challenges remained so present? Why did that one man remain so loyal and emotionally tethered, even in the face of disagreement, while another completely ghosted her over a minor issue? Laura's frustration is not an isolated feeling. It's a common ache in modern love, a byproduct of a system that prioritizes instant gratification over genuine connection. The problem is that she was searching for the cause in the wrong place. She was looking at the surface-level interactions, the grand gestures, the words, the efforts, but the ultimate pattern is anything but random. It involves a profound blend of emotional intensity, subtle cues, individual autonomy, and a deep resonance with unconscious relational scripts. It's not about the things you can control, like a perfectly timed text or a planned date. It's less about grand gestures and more about a quiet yet profound alignment with deep psychological and archetypal patterns. It's the moment when what you offer and what he is unconsciously seeking fit together with a satisfying and almost mystical click. It's a powerful force of recognition, a sense of seeing something deeply familiar and valuable in another person. This is the web of threads that connects us. Imagine it as a glowing web, stretching between two figures. Some of the threads are visible: the shared interests, the laughter, the physical chemistry, the long conversations that stretch into the night. These are the threads we focus on, the ones we believe hold the relationship together. But the threads that matter most, the ones that hold the entire structure together, are invisible. These are the unconscious pathways, the silent pacts, the unspoken needs. They are the threads of loyalty to our family systems, the way we reenact patterns we learned from our parents and grandparents. They are the echoing needs of our inner selves, the parts of us that crave a certain kind of security or a certain kind of challenge. And they are the biological imperatives that drive our most primal desires, the forces of chemistry and attraction we can't always explain. For Lara, the ultimate pattern was never about changing herself to fit a man's needs. That was the old way of doing things, the one that led to exhaustion and disappointment. The true path was about understanding the invisible web already at play. It was about recognizing that her vulnerability, her independence, and her authenticity were not weaknesses. They were the very signals that resonated with a man's deepest psychological blueprints. The men who faded were simply out of alignment with her authentic self. The ones who stayed, however, found a deeper connection that spoke to their own subconscious needs. The real question wasn't, how do I make him stay? But rather, what is it about our unspoken dynamics that makes him want to stay? And that is a question that leads to a profound kind of freedom. Anecdotal threads. Lara's story is not a single narrative. It's a tapestry woven from different relationships. She reflected on two of her past connections that truly illuminated this invisible pattern for her. A pattern that, once recognized, shifted her entire understanding of love. The first was a man named Alex. On paper, he was everything. He was a great conversationalist, they had a ton of shared friends, and the chemistry was undeniable. Their initial dates felt like a movie, a perfect script of witty banter and genuine smiles. Lara, sensing this potential, put in a tremendous amount of effort. She planned dates, sent thoughtful texts, and tried to be the perfect girlfriend. She was consistently available, responsive, and supportive. But no matter what she did, she felt a constant undercurrent of distance. He was there, but he wasn't truly present. The relationship, despite her best efforts, faded quickly. One day, the texts became shorter, the calls less frequent, and soon they were just memories. She had tried to force the connection, to build a bridge across a chasm that she couldn't even see. The more she tried, the more he seemed to pull away, as if her effort was a sign of a need that he could not meet. It felt like she was trying to light a match in a vacuum. She was giving and giving and giving, but the energy was simply disappearing into a void. It was a relationship built on the fragile foundation of conscious effort and surface-level compatibility, a performance where everyone was trying to say the right thing, but no one was truly feeling it. The second relationship was with a man named David. They were a mess from the start. They lived in different cities, their schedules were completely opposite, and they had a turbulent history of on-again, off-again communication. There were no grand gestures, no extravagant dates. Their connection was not polished or clean. It was messy and real. But despite the distance and the challenges, the connection remained. David was always the first to reach out after a long period of silence. not with an apology, but with an authentic question about her well-being. He was there for her when she was struggling with a personal crisis, even when he had no obligation to be. The emotional loyalty, the persistence, was almost bewildering. She didn't have to work for his presence. She didn't have to chase him. He just stayed. The threads that connected them seemed to be woven from a different, more durable material. It was a connection that, despite its chaos, resonated with a powerful unspoken loyalty, a bond that transcended circumstance and logic. Lara realized that while she had a role to play in the dynamic, the foundation was something far deeper than either of them could consciously create. Lara's two stories reveal a profound truth about relational contracts. Some partnerships, it seems, are not just random encounters, but are bound by unconscious agreements. A deep psychological theory suggests that we are unconsciously drawn to people who can help us heal a hidden wound or fulfill a sacred agreement we made with ourselves. A man might feel an unconscious loyalty to you, not because you're perfect, but because you represent a pattern of emotional consistency that his mother never gave him. Or you might represent a challenge that his father never had the courage to face. These are sacred contracts that we enter into unknowingly, and they can dictate the depth of our unconscious loyalty and engagement. The men who fade quickly are simply not part of your sacred contract, and the men who stay are fulfilling a deeper purpose in your life, even if it's painful. This is the difference between a connection that is logical and a connection that is destined. The logical connection is built on a checklist of traits and behaviors. The destined connection is built on a soul's recognition of a shared purpose. This is also why some people feel an archetypal resonance with one another. A man might feel drawn to you because you unconsciously embody a nurturing archetype he is looking for, or an adventurous spirit that he has denied in himself. The bond becomes magnetic, not because of anything you do on a conscious level, but because your very presence speaks to an unconscious need within him. This is the realm where grand gestures pale in comparison to a simple alignment of souls. The relationship with Alex, on one hand, was a performance. It was a play where the actors were reading lines from a script they thought they were supposed to follow. But the script was shallow, and there was no deeper resonance. The relationship with David, however, felt like a powerful myth, a story of two characters bound by a mysterious, unspoken force. It was a dance between two individuals whose unconscious selves recognized one another. The persistence of the connection with David, despite the chaos, also spoke to the power of unresolved family patterns and ancestral dynamics. A man may be unconsciously loyal to a certain type of woman because she represents a pattern of emotional distance that he learned from her family. Or he may be persistently engaged with a woman who challenges him because he is unconsciously trying to resolve an old family dynamic where love was conditional. The persistence of the connection is a sign that he is trying to heal a systemic loyalty, a ghost of the past that is haunting his present. The emotional chaos with David was not a bug, it was a feature. It was the fertile ground where an old pattern of seeking emotional validation could be replayed and perhaps finally healed. And there's one behavioral and emotional pattern that predicts connection more reliably than any grand romantic gesture, but most people completely overlook it. Invisible threads. The pattern we're talking about is a complex dance of three core elements: attachment patterns, emotional intensity, and archetypal resonance. It's the combination of these three that creates the ultimate loyalty loop, the one that keeps him emotionally tethered long after the initial spark has faded. These aren't random occurrences. They are deeply rooted psychological and biological forces that, when understood, give you a profound new level of clarity in your relationships. It's the difference between trying to paddle upstream and learning to ride the current. Attachment patterns and predictable behaviors. The first thread is attachment. While most of us are familiar with the concept of secure, anxious, and avoidant attachment, we rarely see how these patterns play out in the context of persistence and loyalty. Think of it as a person's ingrained blueprint for how to give and receive love, a script written in childhood that they unconsciously follow in every adult relationship. This script dictates not just how they behave, but also the types of connections they are drawn to and the ones they flee from. A man with an avoidant attachment style will naturally pull away when a relationship becomes too intimate, too quickly. This is not a sign of his disinterest, it's a sign that his nervous system is overwhelmed. From a deep-seated place of fear, his brain registers intense closeness as a threat to his independence and safety. He is looking for a connection that feels safe, not suffocating, and that means he needs space to breathe and to maintain his autonomy. A woman who is emotionally consistent and secure in herself, who doesn't panic when he pulls away, is a powerful magnet. She is a mirror of a healthy relationship that he may not have ever experienced before. By her own secure behavior, she is teaching him that he can have both closeness and freedom, and that his need for space will not be punished by abandonment. She is a steady lighthouse in a sea of emotional chaos, and her quiet confidence is a powerful pull. Her stability allows him to feel safe enough to eventually lean in, even if it's a slow and difficult process. Conversely, a man with an anxious attachment style might be drawn to a woman who is emotionally intense and passionate. He is looking for a constant flow of emotional energy, and he is prone to panicking when the connection is threatened. His loyalty is often a form of emotional protest, a way of trying to get closer to you to soothe his internal alarm system. A woman who can hold her own emotionally, who can be present and clear without overcompensating, is a powerful force of attraction. She is a sign of safety and stability that he may have been lacking in his past relationships. Her ability to remain calm in the face of his anxiety is a powerful anchor in his emotional storm, and his loyalty to her is a subconscious effort to find a safe harbor. He is not just looking for love, he is looking for reassurance, and her emotional maturity provides that in a way he has never known. The key to all of this is emotional consistency. It's the ability to show up as your authentic self, day after day, without changing your behavior to fit his needs. It's the quiet confidence that says, "This is who I am, take it or leave it." When you are emotionally consistent, you create a sense of predictability and safety that is incredibly attractive. You become a steady force in a chaotic world, and that is a powerful magnet for a man who is looking for a long-term connection. The subtle cues you send, the way you hold eye contact, the way you listen with your whole body, the way you respond with authenticity, are far more powerful than any carefully crafted text message. These cues, rooted in genuine presence, are what form the bedrock of the loyalty loop, building trust one micro-moment at a time.
Neuroscience and desire. The second thread is neuroscience. Love is a biological imperative, and it is governed by a sophisticated system of chemical feedback loops. The patterns of reward, anticipation, and emotional arousal are what create attachment momentum. The human brain is hardwired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. When a man feels a sense of reward from you, a feeling of safety, a feeling of being seen, a feeling of being wanted for who he is, his brain will naturally seek out more of that reward. This is a powerful, almost primal drive that often outweighs conscious thought or logical decision-making. This is where dopamine, oxytocin, and vasopressin come into play. Dopamine is the neurotransmitter of reward and motivation. It's what makes us feel good, and it's what drives us to seek out more of what makes us feel good. It's the chemical of a romantic crush and the exhilarating feeling of new love. When a man is with you and he feels a sense of emotional reward, his brain is flooded with dopamine, and he will naturally seek out more of you. It's the "I want more" signal that keeps him coming back for another hit of connection. Oxytocin is the bonding hormone, the one that creates a sense of trust and connection. It's released during physical touch, deep conversation, and moments of emotional intimacy. When you are emotionally consistent and authentic, you create an environment where oxytocin can flourish. This is a crucial step in moving from a state of infatuation, driven by dopamine, to a state of deep, committed love, driven by oxytocin. The more oxytocin his brain releases with you, the more deeply he will feel bonded and safe. And finally, vasopressin is the loyalty hormone. It's what makes us feel a sense of long-term commitment and emotional tethering. It's the quiet, steady chemical that solidifies the bond and creates a sense of protectiveness and loyalty. While dopamine is the sizzle and oxytocin is the warmth, vasopressin is the glue that keeps him from leaving. The ultimate pattern is a way of consciously and unconsciously activating these chemical feedback loops. When you are emotionally consistent, you create a sense of safety and predictability that allows oxytocin to flow. When you are authentic and vulnerable, you create an environment where his brain can feel a sense of reward and motivation. And when you are a challenge that he can't quite solve, you keep the anticipation loop alive, which is governed by dopamine. The balance of these three elements is what creates the ultimate loyalty loop. It's a powerful combination of biological and emotional forces that creates a bond that is both loyal and passionate. Family systems and archetypal dynamics. The final thread is the deepest one. It is the thread of family systems and archetypal dynamics. These are the unconscious blueprints that we inherit from our families and from our collective human past. Some men are unconsciously loyal to certain relational patterns because of their family systems. They may be drawn to a woman who is a caretaker because their mother was a caretaker and they are unconsciously trying to fulfill a loyalty to her. Or they may be drawn to a woman who is emotionally distant because they are unconsciously trying to resolve a family dynamic where love was conditional. The persistence of the connection is a sign that he is trying to heal a systemic loyalty, a ghost of the past that is haunting his present. He is not just seeking a partner, he is seeking a way to complete an unfinished story from his past, and the connection he has with you is a powerful stage on which to play out that drama. The patterns of his parents, grandparents, and ancestors are all present in his relational choices, and your role in his life may be to help him break a generational cycle. The archetypal alignment of two people also reinforces a magnetic connection. The unconscious mind is full of archetypes, patterns of behavior and imagery that are universal to all human beings. A man may be drawn to a woman who embodies the archetype of the wild woman, the queen, the mother, or the warrior. He is not just looking for a partner, he is looking for a mirror of his own unconscious self. He is looking for a woman who can help him integrate his own hidden shadow side or to live out a part of himself that he has repressed. When emotional and symbolic resonance occurs, the connection feels almost mystical, and the loyalty is almost unbreakable. This is the force that makes him feel like he's known you forever, even if you just met. He is recognizing an ancient, familiar pattern in you, a narrative that he has carried in his unconscious since birth. The loyalty he feels is not just to you as an individual, but to the powerful archetype you represent for him. The ultimate pattern, therefore, is not a trick. It's a natural alignment of emotional, psychological, and archetypal resonance. It's about recognizing that you are a complex, multi-layered being, and that the right person will be drawn to you for reasons that go beyond your conscious actions or your physical appearance. When understood and applied consciously, it allows you to cultivate lasting connection without sacrificing your autonomy or self-worth. It is about becoming the kind of person who is not just chasing a partner, but who is aligned with a deeper truth about herself and what she is capable of offering in a relationship.
Rewriting the narrative. Now that you understand the ultimate pattern, the real work begins. The goal is not to manipulate it, but to harness it consciously. This is about taking control of your own emotional landscape and choosing to engage with people who are in alignment with your deepest needs. This is where the knowledge you've gained transforms from theory into real, tangible action. It is about actively cultivating a sense of self-possession so powerful that it becomes the magnet for the kind of love you truly deserve. Emotional consistency and authenticity. The first and critical step is to become a master of emotional consistency and authenticity. This means ending the performance you may not even realize you've been putting on. Stop changing your behavior to fit what you think he wants or needs. Stop overcompensating for his emotional distance or manipulating situations to get a desired reaction. Instead, choose to be consistently present, clear, and authentic. This doesn't mean you have to be perfect. It means you have to be you, in all your flawed, beautiful reality. When you are truly authentic, you create a sense of safety and predictability that is incredibly attractive on a biological and psychological level. When a man feels he can trust who you are, his nervous system can relax and he can finally lean into the connection without the constant fear of a bait and switch. He knows what he's getting, and that clarity is a profound gift. It's the quiet confidence that says, "This is who I am, take it or leave it." This is not a challenge, but a statement of your own self-worth. It is the very foundation for building a sound relational home, a principle that is essential for a secure bond. Imagine Maria, a woman who for years felt like she was a chameleon in her relationships. She would put on a show for her dates, carefully curating her personality to match what she believed they wanted. If a man was into sports, she'd feign interest and study the scores. If a man was a serious intellectual, she'd feign a passion for philosophy. She would always say yes, even when her body was screaming no, and she never spoke her mind for fear of ruffling feathers. The men she dated were polite and charming, but they never truly connected with her. They were connecting to a carefully crafted mask. The relationships would invariably fizzle out, leaving her exhausted and questioning her own worth. Then she met a man named Sam, and she was simply too tired to perform. She decided in a moment of emotional surrender to just be herself. She was honest about her quirks, her passions, and her fears. She said no when she didn't want to do something, and she spoke her mind even when it was difficult. The change was remarkable. Sam was not only more engaged, but he was also more loyal. He saw her as a whole person, not just a reflection of his own desires. Her authenticity was the magnet that kept him connected, because he was no longer trying to connect with a performance. He was connecting with a real human being. Balance, vulnerability, and autonomy. The second step is to master the delicate dance between vulnerability and autonomy. Most people believe these are in conflict, but they are actually two sides of the same coin, and their balance is the core of true intimacy. Vulnerability is the ability to show your emotional openness and your deepest self, to take the risk of being seen and known. Autonomy is the ability to maintain your independence and your self-respect, to know that you are a whole person on your own. The ultimate pattern is a powerful combination of the two, because it creates a healthy emotional tension that is incredibly attractive. A man is not drawn to a woman who is needy and completely available, nor is he drawn to a woman who is cold and emotionally distant. He is drawn to a woman who is both. Imagine a woman who is emotionally open but also has a deep sense of self-respect. She is not afraid to show her emotions or to share her deepest fears, but she is also not afraid to walk away from a relationship that is not serving her. She has her own life, a rich inner world, and a network of friends and family that sustain her. This is a powerful signal. It says, I am open to connection, but I am also whole without you. It is this balance that creates a healthy emotional tension that is incredibly attractive. A man is drawn to a woman who is a challenge but not a project. He is drawn to a woman who is emotionally available but also has a life of her own. This dynamic, the feeling that he's connecting with a full, interesting person who isn't dependent on him for her happiness, activates the neurochemical reward systems that create and sustain desire. It is this paradox of being both deeply connected and fiercely independent that creates the longing for a lasting bond. Mindful observation and pattern recognition. The final step is to become a mindful observer of your own relationships. Stop trying to force a connection and start observing his natural responses to your emotional, verbal, and nonverbal cues. This is a practice of emotional intelligence, a way of stepping back from the drama of the moment to see the underlying patterns. Does he lean in when you are vulnerable? Does he respect your boundaries when you set them? Does he show up with emotional consistency, or is he a ghost that comes and goes? Are his words in alignment with his actions? This is a practice that empowers you to stop reacting and to start responding from a place of clarity. The ultimate pattern is a two-way street. You are not just trying to keep him connected. You are trying to find a man who is in alignment with your own deepest needs. You are trying to find a man who is naturally wants to stay because you are his home, not a destination. When you start to see these patterns, the way he responds to your authenticity, the way he leans into your vulnerability, the way he respects your autonomy, you can adjust your boundaries and your engagement consciously without trying to force a connection that is not meant to be. This is the ultimate act of self-love and self-respect. It's the knowledge that you are whole and you are worthy of a connection that is both loyal and passionate. It's about learning to read the quiet signals of his nervous system rather than just listening to his words. It's about paying attention to the way his body language shifts when you are truly present, the way his tone of voice changes when you set a clear boundary, the way he returns to you after a period of space. These are the subtle signals that tell you if you are in alignment with his deepest psychological and archetypal patterns. You are not trying to be the perfect girlfriend. You are trying to be the right person for him, and in doing so, you are also finding the right person for you. This is a journey of self-discovery, a process of peeling back the layers of societal expectations and dating rules to find the core of who you are. And it is this core, this authentic, consistent, vulnerable, and autonomous self that is the most powerful magnet of all. By practicing mindful observation, you can also avoid the common pitfall of staying in relationships that do not serve you. You can see the red flags not as challenges to overcome, but as signals that you are out of alignment. You can recognize that a man who shows up with emotional consistency is not a trick. He is a man who is in alignment with his own healthy relational patterns. And you can recognize that a man who shows up with emotional inconsistency is not a challenge to be solved. He is a man who is not in alignment with your deepest needs. This is the difference between hoping for a connection and building one. It is the difference between a love that is based on fantasy and a love that is based on a profound, authentic reality. The real work is in you and your ability to see and respond to the truth of your relationships.
The ultimate pattern isn't a trick. It's a natural alignment of emotional, psychological, and archetypal resonance. It's a profound shift in perspective, moving from a place of trying to make something happen to understanding what is already happening beneath the surface. It is the quiet confidence that says, I am enough and I am worthy of a love that is loyal and passionate. When you understand this pattern and apply it consciously, you can cultivate lasting connection without sacrificing your autonomy or your self-worth. You are no longer chasing an outcome. You are simply showing up as a whole, authentic person and trusting that the right person will be drawn to you for exactly who you are. This is the difference between a love that is based on fantasy and a love that is based on a profound, authentic reality. It is a love that is built to last. This journey is about self-possession. It's about being so anchored in your own worth and your own truth that you don't need external validation to feel complete. It's about embracing your messy, complex, and beautiful self, knowing that this is the most powerful magnet of all. It's a journey that takes you back to yourself, to the core of who you are, beyond the roles you play or the expectations you carry. It's about recognizing that every failed connection wasn't a mistake, but a lesson that brought you one step closer to this profound level of self-awareness. Each time a relationship didn't work out, you were given a chance to see a hidden pattern, a sacred contract that was meant to teach you a lesson about your own worthiness and your own boundaries. You were being initiated into a more profound, more resilient version of yourself. This is the ultimate work of love, not finding a person to complete you, but becoming a whole person yourself. When you are operating from a place of wholeness, you attract a partner who is also operating from a place of wholeness.
You are no longer engaging in the subconscious dance of two incomplete people trying to fill each other's voids. Instead, you are two complete people choosing to build a life together. You are choosing to love from a place of freedom, not from a place of need. This understanding changes everything because it shifts the focus from what you can get from a relationship to what you can offer and the kind of connection that can only come from two people who are truly authentic. Have you noticed patterns that keep certain people connected to you? Share your insights below. Your story may help someone else understand the invisible dynamics of love. Now that you've explored all the love threads, stay tuned for our next series where we decode the subtle signals that predict long-term relationship success even before he says, "I love you."